And we are live from the CSI Softball Complex on the campus of the College of Staten Island for today's NCAA Division II East Coast Conference doubleheader featuring the D'Youville University Saints taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Foreman. I'm doing double duty today. We are on stats and doing the play-by-play for you here this afternoon, but I will be with you for both of today's games, seated right behind home plate. I join you a bit late as we got started a bit early, but we had some audio issues here in the venue, and I had to attend to that as there was no sound playing through our venue speakers. We got that taken care of, and everything is well in time for first pitch. Just barely, but we got there just in time for first pitch. Dolphins set down the Saints 1-2-3 in the first inning. Kennedy Ruth in the circle for CSI put up a 0 in the road first. And now the Dolphins have a one-out base runner here in the home first as Bridget Motley just drew a walk, and that is pulled foul by Anissa Acosta. Get you the full starting lineup for the Dolphins very quickly following this next pitch. Or perhaps we have some time now. Leading off was Eileen Balderas, followed by Bridget Motley, Anissa Acosta, Olivia Wanzer, Victoria Whalen, Cassidy Latour, Olivia Warner, Alyssa Acosta, Sabrina Caffel, and as I mentioned before, in the circle will be Kennedy Ruth. In the circle for D'Youville, Kendall Lennon. We're a bit short on stats today, stretched very thin. I do not have access to a computer with high-speed internet as Acosta swings and misses for strike two. But we'll do our best. I'll try and get you some stats off the web in just a moment as that's popped up. Shallow right center, falling fast, and that's down for a hit. Perhaps misjudged off the bat just a bit out in right center field. The nearest Saint was Emily Shibish. She didn't get there, and Acosta is on with a bloop single. So a big opportunity for the Dolphins early, with Olivia Wanzer coming to the plate. Motley the runner on second, Acosta at first. Wanzer had a huge day against American International, as did Olivia Warner. The two combined to go 9 for 10 in Game 2 with 8 runs batted in. They had to retrieve some fresh softballs from the Dolphins' dugout as Wanzer waits to step into the box. 2 on, 1 out, home first inning, no score from the CSI Softball Complex. And Lennon's pitch skips in for ball 1. Comes the 1-0. That sails high for ball 2. Wanzer in the driver's seat now, ahead 2-0. Can afford to look for her pitch here. You have to think that it's the middle of the order bat. She may have the green light, but that pitch isn't close. And now Wanzer's ahead 3-0. A walk here would load the bases. Victoria Whalen on deck. And Wanzer takes a strike. Pushing the speed of our internet to its limits. I have the numbers for Kendall Lennon in the circle as Wanzer swings and misses there. Count now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. We'll get you Lennon's numbers following this at bat. Comes the payoff pitch. And Wanzer just got a piece. Lennon on the season has pitched to a 6.7 ERA. She has a record of 3-7 across 16 appearances and 10 starts, 5 complete games, and 54 1/3. She's allowed 82 hits, 63 runs, 52 of those earned. She's walked 40 and struck out 52. And make that walk number 41. A lot of numbers on my screen, a lot of sunlight reflecting off the computer. Very tough to read. But Wanzer draws the walk, and the Dolphins now have the bases loaded for Victoria Whalen with just 1 out. Huge spot here for Whalen, who's come up in so many RBI spots these last 2 seasons. And Whalen takes a strike. We don't have numbers specifically for batting with runners in scoring position, but I'd be willing to say that Whalen has come through more often than not, as she now finds herself in a 2-strike hole right here. Whalen on the season comes in hitting at .290. He's appeared in 12 games, started 11. 9 for 31 at the plate, slugging at .452. And she takes upstairs for ball 1. Whalen has a home run and 9 RBIs. Following the doubleheader earlier in the week, Olivia Wanzer now has 16 runs batted in this season. And now Whalen has worked the count even 2-2. These Dolphins don't often chase bad pitches and do a good job of 2-strike hitting, working the count back in their favor. Count even at 2, and Whalen looks at a called strike 3. Good breaking ball there from Lennon, gets Whalen looking, and that's a huge second out for the Saints.
Now batting catcher number 6, Cassidy Latour.
That will bring up Cassidy Latour. She gets the start behind the plate, and she takes a strike. Latour comes in, hitting at .295 on the season. Last time we covered the Dolphins, she had a 7th-inning 3-run homer. And she's quickly in an 0-2 hole right here. Latour has demonstrated some very good power on the young season. We mentioned it last time on the air here on Sportsnet. Was robbed of a couple of home runs earlier in the year. 1 home run, 7 RBIs. The catcher slugging at .409 on the season. And that's hit in the air out to left center. High in the air. And the catch is made on the move in the outfield to bring an end to the inning, as Mancino was able to run it down. The Dolphins load the bases in the home first, but they do not score. We head to the second. No score from the CSI Softball Complex. And we are back from the CSI Softball Complex. Joe Foreman rejoining you on the call solo today from behind home plate. Yes, we do have 2 separate streams today. CSI Baseball in action just up the hill over at the Baseball Diamond. You can also catch that stream on the ECC network. Nick Pavona on the call over at Baseball. Dual camera stream over there, single camera here for today, as that's hit well to left, and that will land 1 hop shy of the left field fence. Coming up, throwing from left is Acosta, but her throw won't be nearly in time, and it's a leadoff double for Lauren Booth.
Now batting the first baseman, number 11, Ava Miller.
Get you the Saints lineup in just a moment, as Booth doubles to left to get things started here in the second inning. Ava Miller at the plate. And Miller takes out of the zone for ball 1. Leading off for the Saints was Haley Firkus, followed by Laura Beck, Michaela Bush, Lauren Booth. At the plate now, Ava Miller. Gianna Adamo in the on-deck circle. So that's popped up, and Latour has it behind the plate. Quickly, there's one away. So Adamo at the plate now. Behind her, Isabella Mancino, Sophia Arno, Emily Shibish, and as I mentioned earlier, in the circle is Kendall Lennon. One away now in the road second. Booth the runner on second. Adamo at the plate. She's ahead 1-0. Pitch on its way. And that's it out to straightaway center. And waiting there for it is Caffel, who makes the catch for the second out. A quick leadoff double and 2 quick outs for Kennedy Ruth in the circle.
Now batting the left fielder, number 5, Olivia Montino.
So the batter was announced as Olivia Mancino. I have Isabella Mancino on my roster. Trying to see if perhaps I made a mistake. We'll check over with the desk. All right, so we do get confirmation. It is Isabella at the plate. We got the lineups probably about 2 or 3 minutes before introduction, so we had to scramble a bit. But Stat Crew never lies. So that pitch sails high. Count 2-1 on the Saints left fielder. Comes the 2-1. There's a half swing by Mancino. And the count's now even at 2. Ruth 1 strike away from stranding a runner in scoring position in the second. Pitch on its way. That sliced foul. Count remains even at 2. Mancino looking for an RBI in a big spot here. Comes in with 3 runs batted in. Hitting at .233 as that's pulled foul. Battle continues here between Mancino and Ruth. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner on second for Dieuville. Pitch from Ruth on its way. Good off-speed pitch hit softly on the ground to third. Motley comes up throwing in time. And the out is recorded over at first to retire the side. So Kennedy Ruth strands a runner in scoring position, and the Saints are denied in the second. Dolphins come to bat with no score when we come back. We're back from the CSI softball complex. No score between CSI and Dieuville. Olivia Warner at the plate. Count even at 1. From time to time, we'll check in up at the baseball diamond. I won't dare and try and pull live video, as we don't have much bandwidth as it is down here, but we'll check in and get some scoring updates from over at baseball in case our viewers can't check in on both streams at once. As always, live stats available at csidolphins.com. That is how I will be checking in from just down the hill. Warner ahead 3-1 now. Dolphins did not get the leadoff batter on in the first, but got the next 3 on and did not score. As Warner pops one up on 3-1, foul ground. And for the second time today, a putout is made right up against the fence. Just as the home first began, so does the home second. One away on an FF3. That's for me, the official score. That will bring up Alyssa Acosta. Acosta missed a few games following an injury in Florida. She's back in there. First game back here at home anyway. And she looks at a strike. Acosta, an ECC All-Conference first teamer last year. And she taps one right back to the circle. Throw off target, but reeled in over at first. And there are 2 away.
Now batting the center fielder, number 21, Sabrina Caffel.
That will bring up Sabrina Caffel. Caffel, the number 9 hitter for the Dolphins. Behind her, it's back to the top of the order and Eileen Balderas. First pitch to Caffel, up and away for ball 1. Going to check in over at baseball for the first time momentarily. And the live stats there are not pushing. As that's lined out to right, but it's caught there on a line for the final out of the inning by Beck. And the Dolphins go down 1-2-3 in the home second. Saints come to bat in the third when we return. And we're back from the College of Staten Island, where there is still no score between the Dolphins and Saints. Both teams have had opportunities with at least one runner in scoring position. Both have failed to score thus far as we begin the third inning with Sophia Arnaud at the plate. And Arnaud fouls one off on a checked swing. Comes the 0-1. That misses high. Arnaud on the season, hitting at 188, 6 of 32 thus far. She takes high once again. Ruth behind Arnaud, 2-1. She misses high a third time. Comes the 3-1. That misses inside for ball 4. So that pitch wasn't close. And that's typically when there's been cause for concern with Kennedy Ruth in the circle. It's been when she's lost her command. When she has her command, she's been tough to hit. But once she loses that command and has to try and come around the strike zone a bit more, that's when things have gotten problematic. Dolphins on the lookout for a bunt. And the throw goes to second, not in time. So that's going to be a stolen base for Arno. Pitch missed out of the zone for ball one. And now Saints could potentially bunt the runner to third. However, it's 2-0, so perhaps that approach might change. We'll see. At the plate is Emily Shibish. She will look to bunt, and she bunts foul, so not entirely surprising that the bunt was still on with the number 9 hitter. Shibish still ahead in the count, 2-1. Comes to 2-1, and that misses for ball 3. A good possibility the Saints could choose to bunt with their leadoff hitter if Shibish were to walk. However, with a force all around, a walk may not be the worst thing. You hate to walk the number 9 hitter. As Shibish gets the bunt down to Motley, and Motley's play is to first. Nicely done by Motley over at third. The runner does advance on a successful sacrifice by Emily Shibish. And now the Saints have the go-ahead run on third base with just one out. Just scoring that very quickly. And Haley Furcus will be the batter as she takes a big cut at that first pitch for strike one. Following this half inning, I have to make my way up to the baseball press box and assist with some live stats issues, but once that's taken care of, I'll be back. So if I'm not with you, as soon as the Dolphins come to the plate, I will be with you shortly after. Furcus now behind 0-2 here. Big pitch here for Ruth. And a chance to pick up a second out. And that might get the out, but a run should score as the ball was dropped. It's off the glove of Caffel. It rolls into the left center field gap, and Furcus will head for third as she is in standing on the Dolphins' error.
Now batting, the right fielder, number 15, Laura Beck.
Well, Furcus will be credited with a sacrifice fly, but an error will allow her to take third base. As Caffel got there, and it hit off her glove. So I'm scoring that very quickly. I apologize for the brief silence. So the run is earned. As once again, Saints showing bunt. Whether or not Beck will look to bunt's a different story. As the count evens up at 1-1 strike. Beck at the plate 0-1. She waits the 1-1 and bunts at another, but comes up empty. One ball and 2 strikes the count. Pitch from Ruth on its way, and that sliced foul over the seats behind home plate. 1-2 the count on Beck. And once again, she fights one off foul. So Ruth's still looking for that big third strike in this spot with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. And as I say every season, many times, it is just so important for any team to cash in on those runners at third base with less than 2 outs. The Saints with another opportunity here. That's popped up on the infield. Balderas there, and she makes the catch. There's a big second out for Kennedy Ruth and the Dolphins.
Third baseman, number 8, Michaela Bush.
Well, any run that scores after this would be unearned, as Michaela Bush will be the batter. And the Saints' number 3 hitter comes up in a big spot with a chance to double her team's lead as she takes up and away for ball 1. Bush struck out her first time up. Dangerous hitter behind her and Lauren Booth, as that's hit high in the air to left field. But Acosta settles underneath it and makes the catch to retire the side. So Ruth limits the damage as the Dolphins' error does not prove costly. The runner is stranded over at third. 1 run in to score on the sacrifice fly, and Dieuville leads it 1-0. Joe Foreman rejoining you from the CSI Softball Complex. A bit later than I hoped, but right now I'm managing two events here on campus, baseball up the hill and softball here. And the Dolphins have taken a 3-1 lead. I'll recap the inning in just a moment, though you've seen everything on your screen. However, the outfield not exactly well within view from our camera angle, so I'll recap the inning for you in just a moment. Olivia Warner at the plate here behind 0-2. Give you a play-by-play of the inning following this at-bat. 2 in scoring position, 1 out for Warner, and that's hit to center over the outstretched glove of Shibish. It rolls all the way to the fence. Whalen is in to score, Latour is in to score, and it's a 2 RBI double for Olivia Warner. The Dolphins now lead it 5-1. Warner continues to drive in runs in big spots as she comes through with runners on base yet again, putting one just over the glove of Shibish out in center field. Latour and Whalen come in to score, and the Dolphins now lead it by 4 as we play on here in the home third inning. With that, all of the runs in this inning have become earned again, as the error in right field now inconsequential with that 2 RBI double by Warner. And that's chopped to the left side, handled at third. Throw goes to first in time. And Alyssa Acosta is retired for the second out. Warner moves up to third. That will bring up Sabrina Caffel. Caffel at the plate in this game is 0 for 1. Chance to keep the CSI rally going as that's taken low for ball 2. Two and 0 the count on the CSI center fielder. And Caffel looks at a strike. Caffel takes on the inside corner for a called strike 2. And Lennon is now a strike away from bringing an end to this Dolphins rally. And Caffel lines one through the left side for a base hit. Warner comes in to score, and it's a 2-out RBI single for Sabrina Caffel. The Dolphins now lead it 6-1. Caffel just got enough on it to pull it through the left side, and the Dolphin lead is now 5. Huge inning for CSI. And we didn't see this many times in conference play last year. D'Youville, a team that historically has given the Dolphins a lot of trouble since the move to Division II. D'Youville won 6 straight over CSI to start this series all time. The Dolphins then won 3 in a row. Since then, D'Youville has won 3 in a row. As that's popped up on the infield by Balderas, and the inning is finally over. But not before the Dolphins score 6 times. They now have 7 hits in the game, and they lead D'Youville 6-1 as we move to the 4th. Lauren Booth will lead off for the Saints here in the road 4th inning. A 6 spot by the Dolphins in the 3rd has put them in front by 5. And Kennedy Ruth returns to the circle with a lead. And typically this season, we've seen Ruth either come in out of the bullpen or start game 2. She gets the start here in game 1 today, and that decision looks like a good one right now as she gets to pitch with a 5-run advantage working in the 4th. As once again, that's hit well to left, but Acosta is positioned perfectly as she makes the catch just shy of the warning track. And Booth is retired for the first out. Well, you have to think that the way Booth hit the ball her first time up had something to do with where Acosta was positioned there. And it was certainly a good decision to have her positioned deep in left. As an extra base hit is taken away. And now Ava Miller will be the batter. And she takes up and away for ball 1. Miller at the plate in this game is 0 for 1. And she looks at a strike. So we have our first scoring update of the day from over at the baseball diamond. Mercy University 3, Staten Island 1 as they play on in the top of the 4th. Both games currently in the top of the 4th with 1 out. So the game up at baseball moving really well early. Once again, Nick Bavona on the call up at the baseball diamond today. I will be joining him over at baseball, assuming, of course, we finish first down here. Typically, that is the case. We usually finish about an hour or 2 before they do up at baseball. The question is whether or not they are playing 2 9-inning games today or 2 9-inning games on Sunday. I think they would play 2 9-inning games today over at baseball, though the originally scheduled doubleheader over there was a 9 and a 7. So we'll see. Miller draws the walk, and Gianna Adamo will be the batter. Adamo is 0 for 1. Pitch on its way from Ruth as Adamo showing bunt. There goes the runner. And they got her. Caught stealing 2-6. And it looks like there was some confusion on the base paths for Miller. Looking toward the third base coaching box and shrugging as she made her way off the field. I think she expected Miller to lay down that bunt. Either way, the Dolphins will take it. That slice foul. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Talk of smoothies over my shoulder, getting me distracted. Though perhaps not on this day. It's a bit cold. All right, so we have official confirmation 9 and 7 over at baseball. That was the originally scheduled doubleheader for tomorrow, wiped out by rain. That means that on Sunday, they will try and play 2 9-inning games. Good luck with that. Those games on the road in Dobbs Ferry. Ruth behind 3-1 once again. Pitch on its way. That's in for a strike. Count full at 3-2. Base is empty, 2 outs. Ruth looking to face the minimum here in the 4th. Here comes the payoff pitch. And that misses low for ball 4. So once again, Saints have a base runner via a walk. And for Ruth, that walk is her 3rd. She's only allowed 1 hit. She struck out 1. The 1 Saints run was set up by a couple of those walks. Or a walk, I should say. There's a swing and a miss. Isabella Mancino at the plate. She's 0 for 1. Comes to bat here with Adamo on first and 2 away. See if the Saints look to be aggressive on the bases here. And that's ripped foul. And now Ruth is ahead of Mancino, 0-2. Check the stolen base numbers for Adamo on the season, if I can get there fast enough. Adamo 1 for 1, stealing bases over first. That's taken inside. Count 1-2. Ruth still in the driver's seat here. Ruth shakes off the first call and the second. All right, that'll do it. So time was not granted. And the inning is over, perhaps. We're not going anywhere yet. So hold on a minute. The umpires will talk about it. Now, I'm very close to the Dolphins dugout. Not sure if audio from that dugout comes through over our broadcast. However, if it does, you would have been able to hear that the dugout was urging Ruth to pitch. Time was not granted behind the plate. Ruth delivered, and she delivered right down the middle for a called strike 3. So officially, it's a strike looking. And the inning is over. The Saints will not be happy about that. But the Dolphins have left the field. And we are still waiting to see if this conversation yields any benefit to Dieuville. Because I missed the start of the last home inning, I'll stay with you through this break. We were set up over baseball and softball likely, I'd say about an hour and 20 minutes before the softball game. Baseball was ready to go. I came down to softball. They got started about 5 or 10 minutes early. We didn't get a chance to plug into the audio system until about 5 minutes before first pitch because the team uses that system to play music during warm-ups. They plug in a phone and play their own music. Once we plugged in, we realized there was no sound coming out of the speakers. And the reason for that is because the audio was turned down by somebody in the dugout. Nobody wanted to take blame. Why would they? But someone turned the audio off, and we're all good now. So that is the story of how we got started here at the softball complex today. Meanwhile, the conversation continues out on the field. Head coach of the Saints, Connor Moriarty, in his first season speaking with the umpires. But to no avail. And the Saints don't like that. And you really can't blame them, but time was not granted. And the Dolphins did the right thing, delivering a pitch. Can't stand around and wait. Now, it looks like the conversation is continuing in front of the Dolphins dugout regarding some timing issues. Now, whether or not that came into play there, I'm not sure. Bridget Motley will be the batter as we're finally ready to get started here in the home fourth inning. Motley steps into the box, and we're good to go as she slices one foul. Motley is 0 for 1 at the plate. Drew a walk. Has an RBI on a ground out as she takes up and away, and the count evens up at 1-1. Comes the 1-1, and that's fouled off the front of the Saints dugout. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Motley. And she taps one down the first base line, fielded in fair territory. And the tag was applied by Miller to retire Motley for out number 1. And that will bring up Anissa Acosta.
Now batting the first baseman, number 34, Anissa Acosta.
Pitch on its way to Acosta, and that misses upstairs. Acosta 2 for 2. Singled in both of her at-bats. And she's now 3 for 3. As TJ grounds one through the left side, and she's on with a 1-out single. And that will bring up Olivia Wanzer.
Number 38, Olivia Wanzer.
Wanzer at the plate is 1 for 1. That's sliced foul. She has singled and walked in 2 plate appearances. She bats here with a runner on first and 1 out. Her team already leading 6-1. That skips in for a ball. Dolphins with 8 hits in this game. 3 belong to Anissa Acosta. And Wanzer fouls away another. Count 1-2 on the Dolphins' designated player. Victoria Whalen on deck. Pitch on its way from Lennon. That's taken high. Over at the baseball diamond, the Mavericks have extended their lead over the Dolphins. It's now 4-1. And that is in for a called strike 3 to Wanzer. So Wanzer goes down looking, and that will bring up Victoria Whalen.
Number 26, Victoria Whalen.
They are headed to the home 4th at the baseball complex as Whalen takes a strike. Comes the 0-1. That's chopped softly to short, handled there. And the throw to first is in time to retire Whalen for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Dolphins get a 1-out base hit from Anissa Acosta and nothing more. However, CSI still leads 6-1, headed to the 5th. Sophia Arnaud will lead things off for D'Youville here in the 5th inning. Saints trailing by 5. They have just 1 hit in the game against Kennedy Ruth. Really the only blemish on her stat line thus far is the walks. Arnaud at the plate. Drew one of those walks her first time up. She's ahead in the count here, 1-0. And that sails to the backstop to make it 2-0. Ruth working on the dirt in front of the rubber right now. Count 2-0. Pitch on its way. That misses high for ball 3. Emily Shibish on deck. She looked to bunt in a similar spot earlier, trailing by 5, perhaps not, as that's in for a strike. Ruth and the Dolphins certainly hoping that a sacrifice situation doesn't present itself here. They'd love to get the leadoff batter out. Ruth looking to work her way back into this at-bat, still behind 3-1, and it's now 3-2. Another full count for Ruth. We've seen plenty of 3-ball counts in this game. A few full counts. And that's it out to left center. Caffel won't get there, and she can't cut it off. It rolls all the way to the fence. And into second base, standing with a leadoff double, is Sophia Arnaud.
Now batting the center fielder, number 3, Emily Shibish.
31!
Emily Shibish will be the batter. Shibish looked to bunt her last time, did so successfully on a sacrifice. That was after the runner stole from first. And Shibish did not show bunt on the first pitch as she takes up and away. So the Dolphins will move Anissa Acosta back here. Pitch on its way. And Shibish slaps one over shortstop and into left field. It rolls past Acosta. The runner is headed to second, and she is in safely. It's a bloop base hit for Shibish. The question is whether I'll score that a single or a double. Probably a single and an error, as the ball rolled past Acosta, allowing Shibish the opportunity to move to second. So now Dieuville has 2 in scoring position, which will prompt a discussion in the circle among the Dolphins infielders and Kennedy Ruth. What makes things a bit more precarious is that the Saints have now sent it back up to the top of the order. Hallie Furcus will be the batter. Furcus is 0 for 1. Does have an RBI. And she comes to the plate here with a chance to make this a 3-run game. First pitch from Ruth. Fouled away, out of play. Count 0-1. Long look in from Ruth. Pitch on its way. And the drop pitch misses low. That's a tough pitch to lay off for a hitter, especially with how hard Ruth throws normally. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. That's fouled away. And Ruth is 1 strike away from a huge first out. 2 Saints on, nobody out. Road 5th. Here comes the 1-2. And that's off the inside corner. Very close pitch. And from here, it looks like Furcus is standing very close to the plate. And she reaches for the off-speed pitch, taps it to second, and the Dolphins will get the out at first. It's an RBI ground out for Hallie Furcus, And the CSI lead is now 6-2. That will bring up Laura Beck. Beck 0 for 2, and she looks at ball 1. Behind Beck, Michaela Bush and Lauren Booth. Booth has smoked the ball twice. The Dolphins would love it if they can get out of this inning without facing her. That pitch is taken out of the zone for ball 2. Runner on third, 1 out. Booth now behind on Beck, 2-0. Good speed on third base and Shibish. That's taken out of the zone for ball 3. Ruth behind 3-0 here. And she catches the zone for a strike. Count 3-1 now. Ruth delivers. And that's low for ball 4. It's now 4 walks for Ruth. And that will bring Michaela Bush to the plate. Bush 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And if she gets on, that would bring Lauren Booth to the plate as the tying run. Dolphins certainly don't want that. Saints, on the other hand, would love it. As the runner is headed to second, throw is a bit high. It was cut off. And Shibish was forced to hold over at third. Warner reaching up, saved that ball from potentially ending up in center, though Balderas was covering behind her. Likely could have gotten a glove on it. But credit the Saints for the stolen base as Ruth gets ahead 0-2 on Bush. Ruth comes set ahead of the 0-2. That was fouled back on a checked swing by Bush. And it remains a 2-strike count. Here comes another 0-2. And that's hit well to left, but Acosta is right there. Throw is cut off. And it's a sacrifice fly for Michaela Bush. Dolphin lead is now 6-3. And that will bring up Lauren Booth with first base open. And the Dolphins will issue the intentional walk here. You can't argue with that. So the Dolphins are going to put Booth on. Now the negative here is that the tying run comes to the plate. The Saints dugout love that walk as Booth sprints down to first base. Now, the run that scored before, for now, is going to be unearned because Shibish was afforded an extra base on the error in left. So she should have been on second base. That's just an official scoring decision. Runners on first and second. Ava Miller at the plate, ahead 1-0. Swings and misses. Had to get caught up on scoring there very quickly. But we're all set. Count even at 1 strike on the Saints' first baseman. She represents the tying run at the plate. And that misses for ball 2. Check that. It's 3-1, not 2-1. And that catches the corner. Big call right there to keep Ruth in this at bat. Miller thought she had ball 4. The Saints dugout thought she had ball 4. And now a huge 3-2 pitch is upcoming. And that's it out to center. Falling fast, it's down for a hit. The throw comes home, up the line, it hits the runner. And now they have a rundown between first and second. But the tag was not applied, and Miller is safe. I'm not sure the Dolphins were aware on the infield that it was a live ball or that there was a runner heading to second behind the throw. So Miller singles, advances on the throw. It's an RBI base hit for Ava Miller. It's now 6-4, and the tying run is in scoring position. As that's it out to center, Caffel is there, and she makes the catch to retire the side. The Saints strand 2 in scoring position, but not before they score 3 times in the inning. Our score, Staten Island 6, D'Youville 4. Cassidy Latour will lead off for the Dolphins in the home 5th inning, as the CSI lead has been trimmed to 2. It's now 6-4 Staten Island. 3 runs for D'Youville in the 5th inning on 3 base hits. So that skied foul out of play. And the count on Latour is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. We do have a scoring update from up at the baseball diamond. Our score, Mercy 4, Staten Island 3, as the Dolphins have scored twice to pull to within a run. Here, Latour takes ball 2. Latour 1 for 2 at the plate as a base hit and an RBI. There's a swing and miss at that pitch, and the count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, for the first time ever, we did debut a new system today, as that's hit a mile high out to left center. And the catch is made in left by Mancino for the first out. But we debuted a new system, and for the first time ever, I can be in 2 places at once today. I am both the baseball public address announcer and the play-by-play commentator here at softball. I'm also the statistician at softball today. So if we're thinking about it, I'm technically pulling triple duty, as that's fouled back by Olivia Warner for strike 1. However, through the power of our sound mixer in Premiere Pro, I have recorded player introductions for our entire baseball and softball roster, as well as the visiting Mercy University Mavericks. Every pitching change, every batter, all covered. Tyler up there on the controls today, but in the future, the scoreboard operator will be And welcome back inside the CSI softball complex as our wireless internet continues to fail us. Nothing new there. As we were kicked off the air momentarily, we're back. Dolphins went down 1-2-3 in the home fifth inning. You didn't miss anything there, as it was a very quick inning. I've checked in between each inning to make sure that we are still online, and obviously during my check in between innings here, I realized that we were no longer online. So that is rectified. And we're going to have a pinch hitter here for D'Youville.
Now pitch hitting for the Saints, number 20, Cassidy Daves.
Cassidy Daves will be the pinch hitter for D'Youville in this spot. She leads off in the top half of the sixth as Kennedy Ruth returns to the circle for CSI. And Daves held the swing. Daves comes in 6 for 28 on the season, 214 at the plate. She's ahead 1-0 here. That's in for a called strike. Count even at 1 on the Saints pinch hitter. That's chopped foul. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Ruth has had some trouble setting down the leadoff hitter throughout this game. We'll look to set down Daves here. Here's the 1-2. She just got a piece. Marquise wants a headset. There is one in the bag. Unfortunately, you won't be able to hear me except outside of the headset.
Okay.
He says okay. That pitch sails high. Marquise Pickering, of course, our athletic communications content creator. We'll get him plugged in. 2-2 the count on Daves. Long look in from Ruth. Pitch on its way. That's fouled off. All right, so Marquise, we want to try and make sure these wires don't hit the ground, though I've already had mine drag. All right. So our audience should be able to hear you, Marquise. You might not hear me well without taking your headset off one ear.
That's fine.
Gonna have to move this in a little bit.
How are we doing today?
I don't hear you that well. I'm not sure our audience hears you at all. Talk again.
How are we doing?
Not well, apparently, because you're very low. Try one more time.
Mic check, mic check.
There you are. All right, my gain was a bit higher than yours. 3-2 the count now. That's popped up, foul ground, and Latour has it. All right, Marquise, so you were over at the baseball diamond, and our viewers at home actually missed me touch on it during the last half inning because our internet feed cut out. Did you realize I was not up in the box?
Do you want the answer of I know you weren't in the box? Or
I'm just curious.
Well, it sounds like 100% you're in the box.
Okay, it sounds like I'm in the box, but you knew I wasn't up there.
Correct.
Okay. So you weren't taken by surprise. I can't say the same for everyone else.
Really?
I got some looks like, wait a minute, isn't that him talking?
You're a magician.
I'd like to think so. Sophia Arnaud, the batter, she's behind 0-1, and she takes a pitch down in the dirt. So, as I mentioned during the last half inning, once our internet feed cut, I have recorded myself introducing all of our players on both the baseball and softball roster, including pitching changes.
Nice.
As well as all of the visiting players on the Mavericks for today. As that's blooped into center where Caffel makes the diving catch.
Impressive catch.
Full extension extending toward the infield. She made that catch on the backhand.
Emily Shibish.
Great play by Caffel. And there are now 2 gone. Point being, Marquise, I'm in 2 places at once today.
You're everywhere.
Effectively 2 places at once.
Everywhere.
Even when I'm not here, I'm watching because I have access to our streaming computers remotely. I can run the stream from home. That sliced foul. And we're going to be doing that quite a bit with two events going on at once.
It's a pretty busy day here at CSI.
Very busy.
It's also very chilly.
More than a bit chilly. Very busy, more than very chilly. Though the sun is shining brightly right now, so we're good. Come back here at about 5 o'clock. It won't feel so good as that's bunted to third. Motley scoops it up. Throw in time as Acosta makes the stretch at first base, and Shibish is out. She cannot believe it, but the Dolphins will head back to the dugout, maintaining a 2-run advantage. Our score, Staten Island 6, D'Youville 4. And we are back from the CSI Softball Complex, where our mixer is doing some very weird things right now. When I mute our microphones, Marquise, I am booming in my own ears. Once we're unmuted, it's a nice level, so not exactly sure what's going on with that, but we'll figure it out a bit later as Sabrina Caffel leads off for the Dolphins here in the home 6th inning. And Caffel takes the ball. Now, Marquise, you're on a roll. We have a lot of images online, a lot of images. However, you and I have been tasked with a very important project that
I don't
I'd
think
like
we
to
can
talk
talk about that one.
We can't talk about that one?
Nah. They just got to see it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was a secret project at this point.
Let's talk about it, but very lightly.
Marquise and I have been tasked with helping to design a new decorative piece for the tank as Caffel draws the walk. It will feature some of our CSI student athletes, and that's all I have to say about it. However, it's going to be large in scale. You can't miss it.
You can't miss it.
You cannot miss it. So that is all we'll say about it.
I think I might hide my name somewhere in it.
Honestly, I should stick myself in the background somewhere with the headset on. How about in the center of the background with all the athletes in front of me, I'll be in the background with the headset on.
We should add the image of us standing on our desk.
All right, let's not get carried away here. You think anyone would notice if I snuck a picture of myself in there from the faculty staff basketball game?
You fit right in.
I might. I'd have to dye my hair a bit. Otherwise, I'll be looking a bit old.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm very, very gray. 2-0 the count on Eileen Balderas, and she takes ball 3. So there were some defensive changes in the outfield for D'Youville during the break in between innings. Ali Biardi moved into center field. Shibish moved over to left, and Beck remains in right as Balderas takes a called strike 1. Update from the baseball diamond. Top 6, Mercy leads 4-3.
It came back.
So the score still where we left it, about an inning or two back, as Balderas takes ball 4. And the Dolphins have 2 on with nobody out here in the 6th.
The third baseman, number 19, Bridget Motley.
As I mentioned earlier, they are playing a 9-inning game and a 7-inning game of baseball. And I think we may have a pitching change coming up here. We'll see. Kendall Lennon has removed the mask, perhaps just for this conversation as she puts it back on here. We'll see what happens. But Bridget Motley will be the batter with 2 runners on and nobody out here in the 6th. And the Dolphins will be looking for some insurance. And we'll see if Kennedy Ruth returns to the circle for the 7th.
Finish it out.
Wouldn't be her first complete game. So the conversation finally breaks up in the circle for Dieuville. And Motley comes to the plate with a big opportunity. 2 runners on, nobody out. Bridget is 0 for 2. She has drawn a walk and has a run batted in. Behind her, Anissa Acosta, 3 for 3. First pitch on its way, and that skips in for ball 1. The runners are going, and there is no play at either base. Good base running by Kathleen Balderas to advance on that wild pitch. And the Dolphins will take that as they now have 2 in scoring position. Nobody out, and Motley takes a strike. Count 1-1 on the CSI third baseman. That's sliced foul. Motley behind 1-2 here. First base now open following the wild pitch. And that's lined into right center for a base hit. It's cut off in center nicely by Biardi, but not before 2 runs come in to score. It's a 2 RBI single for Bridget Motley, and the Dolphins have extended their lead to 4. It's now 8-4 Staten Island.
It's a great job by Bridget right there, providing some insurance.
2 RBIs for Motley, and CSI has a bit more breathing room.
Yes.
8-4 Staten Island as the Dolphins look to snap a 3-game losing streak against Dieuville. Dolphins, before that 3-game losing streak, had beaten Dieuville in 3 straight. It's been a back-and-forth all-time series over the last few seasons. That's grounded through the hole for another base hit. Motley will move up to second. And Anissa Acosta is now 4 for 4. Olivia Wanzer at the plate here, and she takes a strike. That evens up the count at 1-1.
2 steaks. I can go for some steaks right now.
Now, did the spectator mean 2 base runners? As that's popped up, and Motley wisely didn't stray too far. She slides back into second base safely. And it looks like we're going to have a change here. Natalia Knopf will pinch hit. So Knopf pinch hits for Whalen.
Number 24, Natalia Knopf.
Dolphins with double-digit hits in this game. They've out-hit Dieuville 10-4. And they would love one more big base hit from Knopf in this spot. 2 on, 1 out. CSI in front by 4. As we saw on Wednesday, no lead is safe. That pitch misses high. Marquise, there were 42 runs scored between the two teams on Wednesday. CSI and American International.
That's right.
Those two teams, when they meet, it's can't miss. As Noth pulls one foul. I know our entire Sportsnet crew remembers. Do you remember what happened when those two teams met here last year?
I don't.
It was win number 300 for Tracy.
That's right. The comeback.
And a huge comeback win in the second game.
That's right. That's right.
As Noth takes ball 2. That was one of the more memorable doubleheaders we covered last season here at softball. Noth takes low again, and it's now 3-1. Comes the 3-1. That's in for a called strike. Count now full on Noth. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Payoff pitch. Misses low for ball 4. And the bases are now loaded for Cassidy Latour.
Now batting the catcher, number 6, Cassidy Latour.
Marquise vibing to Cassidy's walk-up music.
I love it.
I just heard another voice from up at baseball.
I did.
Pinch runner?
Might have to go check that out.
That's fouled
Did you
away by
change your
Latour.
voice for different things?
I did not. All we did is plug this mixer into a laptop and speak into it.
Okay.
And then we overlaid it with the walk-up. Done. Comes the 0-1. That's in the dirt. Now, I did not score one inning with pitch by pitch. That was back when the Dolphins got on the board for the first time earlier in this game. But even without the pitch by pitch for early in that inning, I have Lennon at 106. So she's probably closer to 125. And the 2-1 is lined into left field for a base hit. Each runner will move up a base, and it's an RBI single for Cassidy Latour. And the Dolphins now lead it 9-4. Rhyme unintended.
The second baseman, number 42, Olivia Warner.
That will bring up Olivia Warner. Warner is 1 for 3. Looking to keep the line moving here in the home 6th as that sliced foul. Off the light pole and back into the field to play. You don't need a ball chaser with luck like that. And that's it out to right. Hit pretty well. Catch is made by Beck. She throws home. It's off the glove of the cutoff, and Acosta will score as the Dolphins go in front 10-4, their largest lead of the game.
Now batting the left fielder, number 12, Alyssa Acosta.
That will bring up Alyssa Acosta. Acosta 0 for 3, and she swings and misses for strike 1. So we anticipate that we'll have about 20 to 30 minutes between games here.
I'll probably
There's
head
that
back
pitch.
over to baseball.
I'll be right behind you. Perhaps I hop on for a cameo late in that game. I'll be both the public address announcer and color commentator in the same place.
Nice.
As Acosta looks at a called strike 3. So that will do it for the Dolphins in the home 6th inning. But not before CSI scores 4 times. They now lead by a game-high 6 runs. Saints down to their final 3 outs when they come to bat in the 7th. Kennedy Ruth back to the circle for the Dolphins, looking for a complete game victory. For Ruth, it would be the second complete game victory we've called here at the softball complex this year. On the season, she has 3 complete games and comes in with a record of 3-4 across 9 appearances and 5 starts. At the plate, Hallie Furkes, and she's quickly ahead 2-0. Hopefully our audience didn't hear that.
What happened? Oh.
Tracy giving some words of encouragement, not necessarily PG.
Coach Trace.
The 2-0. That's hit in the air, foul territory, and out of play. She was telling Kennedy to throw some strikes.
That's it. Just throw some
I might have
strikes.
left the word out, but you know. 2-1 the count on Furkes. The Saints leadoff hitter. 0 for 2 at the plate. I certainly hope they didn't hear that. Comes the 2-1. Now, I've always wanted to mic up the dugout just for fun on a delay. We can delay our scoreboard, and I know we can delay some audio.
We're not delaying this.
Well, we'd have to delay it, and somebody would have to be tasked with listening just to that audio.
True.
And it's a leadoff walk for Furkes, and the Saints have a runner on to open up the road 7th. That will bring up Laura Beck. Also on the slate today, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Overwatch 2 ECC semifinals, if I'm not mistaken. Dolphins take on New York Tech, CSI Esports, a perennial powerhouse in the East Coast Conference, and they will be in action later today against New York Tech.
They're coached by the great Bert Sanchez.
Bert Sanchez we're going with. All right.
Yes, sir.
Bert Sanchez, one of the few on this staff with public address experience.
Pretty impressive.
It's becoming quite the rarity now.
What does he have, like 40 championships as well, too?
He's got quite the trophy
He
case.
sure does. I feel like every time I come into work, he's like, hey, guess what I just did? Won a chip.
He might be a bit of a show-off. We'll let it slide. If it makes him happy, I'm for it, because Bert's angry quite a bit. I'll never forget. This was several years back. Bert and I visited a Burger King located in the gas station on Richmond Avenue.
Okay, very interesting.
And they had the paper crowns. Now, you'd ask why we didn't visit McDonald's. They're our sponsor. They were
Okay.
closed.
Yes. Ah.
Why was McDonald's closed? Just go with it.
Okay.
So we visited Burger King. I got him one of the paper crowns, and it said something like, always angry or something. And I hung it on his door. I'm not even sure he'll remember that. That was many years back.
Many moons.
That was back when I was here every day. 1-1 the count on Laura Beck, and she takes a strike. Beck behind 1-2. Ruth looking for the first out here in the 7th inning. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. And that's up and away. The CSI lead is 6 as we play here in the 7th. Dolphins looking to open their conference schedule with a win. And that misses low for ball 3. Saints, without much to lose, being patient here as they've run yet another full count. It's 3-2. Pitch on its way from Ruth, and she has now walked 7.
Now batting, the third baseman, number 8, Michaela Bush.
That will bring up Michaela Bush. Bush at the plate in this game, 0 for 2. Has a run batted in and has struck out. She bats here with 2 on, nobody out. D'Youville with 4 runs on just 4 hits in this game. When Ruth has been in the strike zone, it's been primarily Lauren Booth who's hit her well. Not much else in terms of solid contact as that's hit out to left. Acosta gets turned around and she lost it. The ball was dropped on the warning track in left. And the second Dolphins error will load the bases.
Now batting the designated player, number 22, Lauren Booth.
Bases loaded, nobody out. And the most dangerous hitter in the Saints lineup, Lauren Booth, comes to the plate. Booth was issued an intentional walk earlier. She's 1 for 2, has crushed the ball to left twice. One of those got over the head of Alyssa Acosta in left field. The second saw her positioned perfectly to make the catch for the out. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. And that's popped up. Shallow right. Whalen coming in, and that's down for a hit. Each runner will move up a base as the throw got away. And it's an RBI single for Lauren Booth.
Now batting the first
It's now 10-5.
Ava Miller.
Tough break there for the Dolphins as they got the pop-up they were looking for. But Booth drives in the run. As Whalen and Warner converged over the ball, neither could get there. It's a 5-run CSI lead, and we're going to have a change here for D'Youville. It's going to be a pinch runner over at first.
Now coming in to pinch run for the Saints.
Mia Tritley will pinch run at first base.
Number 27, Mia Tatron.
Ava Miller will be the batter. She takes out of the zone. And Miller fouls that one back. Count even at 1. The Dolphins cashed in on some very valuable insurance.
Yeah.
And after we saw 42 runs on Wednesday, I'm sure, especially right now, they're happy they did. Still some breathing room for Ruth. She remains in the game. And Miller is hit by the pitch. Saints dugout beginning to make some noise.
Number 4, Gianna Adamo.
And Gianna Adamo will be the batter. Adamo represents the tying run at the plate. She's 0 for 2 in the game, has already drawn a walk. Pitch on its way. And that's hit the other way. Acosta is there. She makes the catch. And the throw goes to third. Now, the runner over at third decided to hold there. I'm not sure if that was the sign or a miscommunication. Probably the right play. No reason to chance it, though I don't think they had the out at the plate.
Now pitching for the Saints, number 7, Allie Beardy.
Hopefully our audience didn't hear that either.
Ooh.
Allie Biardi at the plate. She gets the benefit of the checked swing call on that first pitch. She's ahead 1-0. That's off the outside corner for ball 2. The base is still loaded with 1 out. With the runner holding at third, Dolphins now have a force all around. There's a swing and miss by Biardi. Two and 1 the count. Pitch on its way. And that gets to the backstop. Throw comes home, not in time. And each runner will move up a base.
No way. I mean, but the way the Mets are coming to play with the food that they're bringing into Citi Field this year is pretty impressive.
That was so out of left field, Marquise.
I know it was, but I was
Where
thinking
did that
about
come
food.
from?
They've been talking about steaks all day today.
I'm not sure a lot of our audience realized you were still here. And then all of a sudden you jump in with the food selection to Citi Field.
Keep them on their toes.
You sure are. As that's bunted down the third base line, foul ball. So with that foul bunt attempt, the count runs full on Biardi, 3-2. This is a strike that Ruth and the Dolphins really need to have. Payoff pitch on its way. And that's low for ball 4. Tying run is now on base for Dieuville.
Number 2, Sophia Arnaud.
And Sophia Arnaud will be the batter. That pitch is fouled back. Arnaud at the plate in this game, 1 for 2. Has a walk and a double. And that's off the inside corner. Dieuville still with just 5 hits in this game. Ruth has now walked 8. And the 1-1 is at the knees for a strike. Ruth finally getting a chance to work from ahead in the count in this inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Arnaud, the go-ahead run at the plate, the tying run at first. And that's popped up.
In the air.
And that's going to be an infield fly.
2 down, 1 to go.
Though, just a reminder, Marquise and I are impartial.
Number
Correct.
3, Emily Shibish.
And it will be left to Emily Shibish. Shibish 1 for 2 at the plate. And she chops one to the right side. Warner there. Glove flip to first in time. And the ball game is over. The Dolphins hold on in the 7th as they knock off Dieuville by a final score of 10-7.
Your final score, the Saints 7 and your Dolphins 10.
Kennedy Ruth with a complete game victory as they make the announcement of the CSI win over PA, and a great play by Olivia Warner to bring that game to a close, as the glove flip is what it took to get that final out over at first base. Final lines in this one. The Saints, 7 runs on 5 hits, 1 error. The Dolphins, 10 runs on 11 hits, 3 errors. I will be making my way up to the baseball diamond, and perhaps you can catch me over on the baseball stream for a few minutes as I'll join Nick Pavona over at baseball. They are in the midst of a good one over there at the baseball diamond. The Mavericks lead the Dolphins 5-3 in the top half of the 7th inning. When we come back here at the softball diamond, Game 2 between the College of Staten Island and Dieuville University. Until then, this has been Joe Foreman alongside my guest for the later innings, Marquise Pickering, our athletic communications content creator. Thanks for tuning in. Game 2 on a separate stream coming up next, right back here on the ECC Network.